The college football experience, Air Force Falcons 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to a new year, baby. Welcome to the college football experience. Air Force Falcons 2023 season preview. We are here. This is officially college football season. You might be just tuning in for the first time. Maybe you never heard of us and you're saying, who is this idiot yelling at me? Well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dant, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
You're going to pay for it. Woo. That's what Troy Calhoun is saying, because Patty C. I mean, look, I know I got to introduce you, but this Falcon team, only what? I feel like 15 points away from being an undefeated football team a season ago. I think that's, if my math is correct, which is always a little questionable. All right. But we're talking Air Force Falcon football. And look, I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Oh, we get your music going. We got your Tecmo Super Bowl music going.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's go. Let's talk about the Air Force Falcons, winners, in my opinion, of the 1958 National Championship and 1985, because they had the same record as the national champs in 1985, and they played a similar opponent. Air Force beat them by more. And I'm talking about the Texas Longhorns. That is a national championship in my mind, buddy. And look, I mean, Bill Parcells, Ben Martin, Fisher to Barry. You can go on and on and on about the legendary coaches, and I think Troy Calhoun is one of them. He's 121 and 78 at Air Force. And look, coming off a 9-3 season, 15 points away from being undefeated. 15 points away from being undefeated. I got to
double check that math, because I thought it was even less than that.
No.
Oh, no, you're right. 15 points. 15 points. Oh, look at this. You should
always double check my math, though. And this guy, look, it's an honor to have this guy on. If you listen to us in years past, I feel like the past 2 to 3 years, he's been on all of our Air Force previews, and he gave us some valuable intel a year ago on certain players. I just want to say John Lee Eldridge was one that I didn't know about, that he really put me onto. And then he's also accurately called the season on the over for the Falcons the past couple of years. And look, this guy runs a page, well, several pages as far regarding to Air Force football. Let me just make sure I don't mess this up. He contributes to the History Falcon page on Twitter at History Falcon. Also the history of Air Force basketball, I believe, as well as just about 10 pages. The Facebook page for Air Force football. I mean, there's so much here that it's like reading an Air Force captain's resume here. So give it up for Rick Baum, though. How you doing, brother?
Woo. Hey guys, it's good to be on again this year. We did have those 9 regular season wins. We finished double digits after we beat Baylor, and it's great to be on here. This is where the rubber meets the road.
There we go. And I have a lot of questions coming into this season. Look, he's got the Air Force Falcon jersey.
Yeah, I got
on.
the number 7 for Trey Taylor, by the way.
Oh, there we go. Trey Taylor, fantastic defensive back. He's even wearing the Denver Nuggets cap, as he's got the Air Force flag. Folks, you can watch this on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. We're going to talk all about it. But first, I got to get us paid. I want to tell you that the Air Force Falcons 2023 season preview on the College Experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes. Look, Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be extremely valuable, Patty C. If you don't want maybe you're betting on some Air Force Falcons games and, maybe you want to make a larger bet. They're going to beat this team. But you know what? The wife saying, hey, what is this transaction? Well, quarterback sneak. Quarterback sneak. Well, imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. I'll just say that. All right. You can get down on your favorite futures without tying up your bankroll for months. You can double down on your favorite bet. You can middle, you can hedge, even though I don't advise hedging because we don't do that here. Edge Boost isn't some sneaky or sleazy loan shark that is going to be, sitting there waiting for you to come home with a lead pipe in the ballroom, ready to break your kneecaps. All right. They don't charge any interest. All right. And that's what's always hilarious is people are like, well, they're legalizing gambling. It's dangerous. And I'm like, well, before you end up with a broken kneecap, right. You show up to work or you show up to your wife. Yeah, honey, I slipped on the ice. Right. No, this is a lot safer, 0% interest, and you don't have to worry about your future. So support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. You must be 21 years or older to use. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience talking Air Force Falcon football. And Rick, I have notes here. I've been doing my homework, and I believe it or not, over the past week, I've watched every Air Force game from a season ago. Yeah,
it was well documented. I actually saw you between naps.
Yeah, exactly. And all week I've been number crunching. But the first question I have has nothing to do with me watching film. I am a huge fan of the triple option. I believe it's, shout out to our departed friend, our Mike Leach, who designed the air raid. People don't know this. People just think, hey, the air raid, everyone should be doing the air raid these days, right? Which you see all throughout the NFL, high school, college, air raid everywhere. And that's the genius of Mike Leach. May he rest in peace, friend of the program. But he designed that offense after the triple option offense. Yes, people don't know that Mike Leach was so fond of the triple option offense. He says, there's got to be a way for us to do this in the air,
to do this without, to do this with crappy offensive alignment.
Yeah. and so people don't realize that, but yet, and if you ask Coach Leach, which I have, he would tell you the greatest offense of all time is the triple option offense. And then he would probably follow it up with the air raid. But these NCAA rules, I don't know who is in charge of this nonsense, and shout out to legendary coach Paul Johnson, because I know he's been fighting the good fight on behalf of triple option offense. And for some reason they're ignoring him, and I think he brings up a great point on the fact that isn't a chop block or a cut block, the same as when we tackle a player. Because when you tackle a player, you're going low. They teach you to go low now, right? Right, and I am so confused. I just think it's a propaganda machine.
Not allowed to go low on offense, not allowed to go high on defense.
I'm so confused in what they're turning football into. But Jeff Monken, the head coach of Army, has these rule changes that were put in effect back in April. So he's going to the shotgun offense at Army. Shotgun option, kind of what Grayson McCall does and Jamie Chadwell did at Coastal Carolina. All this has me incredibly furious. Like, the fact that they're doing these rule changes, which I think are just ridiculous. I don't believe they're accurate. I don't believe they have yet to show any facts saying that that's more dangerous. They are just doing this, in my opinion, for TV ratings. And this is having TV execs in charge because these games go super fast. They go super fast. So, when you're running the ball nonstop, I'm curious though, Troy Calhoun, I know he hasn't said anything publicly about this, but are we going to see a different style offense, much like Army, which has been well documented with all these rule changes, Rick?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I would imagine that overall Air Force football is going to remain the same. Our target zone for blocking, of course, has changed again, second year in a row. And I did see a little shotgun in the spring game. So yeah, that's definitely on the table.
Look, I love Troy Calhoun, and maybe I would have to go to shotgun.
I just puked in my mouth.
That's what I'm saying. I was just about to say that. I was like, I love Troy Calhoun, and they're setting this up so he probably has to do this. But to quote the great Jim Mora, I think I just vomited in the stands watching. Watching. I mean, why do they have to do this? It just bothers me. Can we just play football? What's going on here? What's going on in our society? I still think Troy Calhoun will figure it out, but it just drives me crazy as a guy that's watched football his whole life. To see this happening to the game is absolutely crazy to me. Now the question will be, can Troy Calhoun and Jeff Monken and everyone else that's doing this, are they going to be able to find to win with this? Because this is a pretty big unknown. We every year we go. Rick was on the show the past 3 years, going taking Air Force over, and he's been hitting on this. Yeah. And they look, what is he? Calhoun's 19-6 in the past 2 years, and we just touched on it. They were close to being undefeated.
I mean, we were watching John Lee Eldridge film. Getting to the outside and having those blocks is such a huge part of that offense that opens up the middle for him.
It's really concerning to me. Well, it leaves us from the gambler standpoint or forecasting how well Air Force will be this year. It's a big enigma. It's a big unknown. Yeah. So, I don't know. Let's dive into it because I want to talk about, first off, the Air Force Falcons, 4 double-digit wins in the past decade. 4 double-digit win seasons in the past decade, and Power 5 wins twice against the Colorado Buffaloes. I think Air Force is saying, "Hey, we are the best football program in the state of Colorado. We coming, all right." Then they beat the Baylor Bears in the bowl game. They beat the Louisville Cardinals. You're at your ACC, Petty C. Washington State and Mike Leach. They did upset them in a bowl game. BYU, they've beaten several times. Since 1990, they've beaten Georgia Tech, Houston, Utah, Notre Dame twice, TCU a bunch of times, Washington a bunch of times, Northwestern, Cal, Wake Forest, Mississippi State, and Ohio State. In fact, they have a winning record all time against Ohio State. They say the Ohio State. I would argue it's the Air Force Falcons, Patty C.
There it is.
Look, last year's Air Force offense, 68th in the nation. The rushing offense, first in the nation. The passing offense, 130th. I know when we were doing our notes, Patty C, you said they had the worst passing offense. No, they didn't. There was 131 teams last year. They were second worst, but it's not because of them being bad. It's just they don't attempt as many. Maybe they will this year out of the shotgun. Altogether, their offense was 58th in the country. Defensively, scoring defense was 3rd in the nation. Yes, 3rd in the nation. Rush defense was 5th in the nation. Pass defense, 2nd in the nation. Total defense, number 1 in America. Look, okay, you can you can change all the rules you want on offense. All right, you filthy, filthy people. Whoever's okaying this, they deserve terrible things, in my opinion. All right, but that defense is still number 1. All right, I know you're mad. You got 5 stars everywhere, and Air Force almost goes undefeated. You can't change the rules on defense. Well, they probably can. Shh. The Falcons play great ball though, and look, Haaziq Daniels. Longtime quarterback. He's up there now to me with Bo Morgan, Blaine Morgan, all those legendary Air Force quarterbacks, Troy Calhoun being one of them. And Brad Roberts, star running back. I like to call him John Riggins 2.0. He is gone. Yeah. Daniel's gone. Concern, perhaps? I don't know. We'll see. John Lee Eldridge, though, who you just alluded to and who Rick put me on to a season ago. That guy's a beast. That guy is a really good running back. And I'm seeing, when I look at the offseason reports, 4 of 5 offensive linemen back. Is that true, though? Is it 3 of 5, Rick? Because of a thing you alerted me to via this text message earlier today?
Well, so first and foremost, as far as the offensive line goes, we are going to have 5 seniors. Now, as far as playing experience, all of those 5 will have had a start on their resume. It looks like we're going to be down our right tackle. He is not on the roster as of right now. Hopefully that will change. But like I said, this is still a senior offensive line with senior backups.
There we go. You gotta love that. And Brad Roberts is gone, but I know you were talking about Emmanuel Michael, right? Emmanuel Michael.
Michelle.
I'm sorry. Emmanuel Michelle is the guy that we should all be on the lookout for well, I'm curious though. Are we going to see less of the fullback since we're going out of the gun some?
You know what? That gun thing, I don't expect to see it, very often. We will see it more than normal, but we're gonna stick with our recipe of winning football. It's gonna be Thunder and Lightning back there. Thunder will be E-Man, and the Lightning will be John Lee Eldridge.
That's what they say about me and Patty C. Thunder and Lightning over here.
Which is which?
I think I've got Thunder covered.
He says he's Thunder, I'm Lightning, but that is good. Okay, now talk to me about the quarterback battle, because I've done a bunch of homework on looking at projections on who they have as a starter. I've seen 3 different names tossed out there. So is it? If I pick up a magazine, they say Jensen Jones. I saw Zac Larrier a year ago, and then they have the passing quarterback on Brittain. Ben Brittain. Yeah. Who do you think will be starting under center when Air Force first takes their first snap against Robert Morris of the FCS week 1?
Based on what I've seen, and usually a key indicator at the last spring practice is that guy that's probably going to be leading in the fall will take them out. And it was Jensen Jones this year. Jensen is going to be dynamic. He is more along the lines of the traditional Air Force run first quarterbacks, stout, strong, good field of vision, and can throw the ball.
Yeah, I think that's always concerning when a lot of people just think, hey, it's a plug and play thing when you run the triple option. I disagree. I disagree because, like, you look at what Navy. Remember, they had Keenan Reynolds, and he was fantastic, and they jumped to Ty Lavatai. No disrespect against Ty Lavatai, but they haven't been the same team. And from an offensive standpoint,
I think it makes a huge.
Because your decision making, obviously, with reading the defense and everything, and then also being able to throw the ball a little bit. So losing Haaziq Daniels is a little bit of a concern, but if Jensen Jones can step in and play at somewhat of a Daniels level, and you think he's a better runner than Daniels, huh?
Well, in certain situations, he's that short yardage, plow forward guy. And really we've got a 3-headed monster in some respects with, we do have Zac Larrier, who will probably get a package or 2 a game. And Ben Brittain has a great arm. We talked about it last year. He was 1 for 1, 80 yards when Daniels got out for 1 play.
Hey, I would never play another college game again. I would just say
10,000.
I'd say, I'm retired. 1 for 1, 80-yard touchdown. I told you I was better than Montana and Brady, Mom. So I'm curious though. Okay, so. Do you think we'll see more passing? And by the way, Larrier, we actually saw him line up at running back some last year. Well, and he's going to play quarterback.
Yeah, so right? It makes sense. Zac Larrier is a track guy, right? He's I think 2 or 3 time 200-meter champion for the Mountain West Conference. So he's playing behind Daniels and being at that position. He's also going to be a senior. We're going to get him the ball somehow. I do have complete confidence in Jensen Jones. I really believe he's going to surprise some people, but it won't be me.
There you go.
That's not the type of speed you think of at Air Force and service academies in general. But absolute burners, like conference champion 200-meter guys, just somewhere in the rotation will fit them in. Yeah, Air Force, shocking talent.
What about Kade Frew? I've heard good things about him wide out, and maybe if they are going to be out of the gun a little bit more, I've heard in spring game, in the spring game, he flashed. I also, you're breaking in some new wideouts. So I'm curious, I know it's Air Force. They were 130th in passing, but not because they weren't good at passing. They just didn't commit to it that often. Yeah. Is there any guys that jump off screen that could be, difference makers, wideout wise?
Well, we kind of have that dual position, right? We have a dedicated wideout. We have a Z, which is a little bit of a runner, a little bit of a receiver. The staples this upcoming season will be Dane Kinnaman, Kade Harris, but Frew is the real deal. He comes out of high school in Jacksonville, Bowles, who has Mac Jones and a couple other Air Force guys recently. He's electric when he touches the ball. He's only going to be a sophomore, so that's, typically if you're an electric sophomore, you will see the field. So I do expect to see him. We've got Wyatt Wilson, Brandon Eagle at the traditional wideout positions. We got some younger guys, Trey Roberson. We got Dylan Evans. So I think we're going to be okay there, but definitely a good one to watch.
Yeah. And defensively, I think the whole college football world, anyone that follows all 133 teams, and especially Air Force football, last year, Virginia had hired John Radzinski, the DC of Air Force 2 years ago, when they had a top 10 defense. And some of us were like, I don't know. First off, Radzinski went to UVA and actually did a great job defensively. It was the offense that was the problem for UVA, but not a problem. He leaves, and guess what? You got the number one defense in the nation. Next man up mentality. Now this defense, which I know you were alluding to earlier, I am very interested to see how they do this year, because if there's a strong suit on this team, I think it probably going into this year might be the defense. They get 2 or 3 back on the defensive line, led by senior Jaden Thiergood. Okay. 2 or 3 linebackers back. I know the name Camby Goff. I feel like he's been in college 30 years because he's been very good for a long time. And then 3 or 4 back in the secondary, led by strong safety Trey Taylor, whose jersey you are currently wearing.
Free safety, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Free safety, Trey Taylor. Tell me about this defense. Do you think, can you duplicate last year's success? Because I don't think you can get better than first.
Get better.
Yeah. Talk to me about this defense. And is there any guys that I'm missing that maybe jump off screen, or, does someone need to step up and fill the void for someone that is gone, that is departed? What do you make of this defense heading into 23?
Man, I'll tell you what, shout out to Brian Knorr, our defensive coordinator. Like you had mentioned, he picked up right where Coach Radzinski had left off. This upcoming season, we look to be as good, if not better in some areas. And you mentioned the defensive backfield. We've got our 3-headed monster on defense. We got Camby Goff, Jaden Goodwin, and Trey Taylor, of course. And these guys are ball hawks. They have good size. Some names that you may not be familiar with, but you will be. Michael Mack, the second at cornerback, big corner. He's going to be back for most of his 3rd season as a starter. We've got strong linebackers, Jonathan Youngblood, Bo Richter, Alec Mock, stud. And then
big fan of linebackers named Youngblood, by the way. Shout out to Jack Youngblood, played for the Los Angeles Rams back in the day. Continue on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, and then one of the unsung positions on the defense is our nose guard. We got a guy by the name of Peyton Zadroik. I mentioned him last season when he was a sophomore. He was dominant, and he is built like a fire hydrant, and he will put some pressure on the quarterback. And the line depth is even better this year. PJ Ramsey will be another starter. We got Caden Bloom. We got Caleb Tompkins. We've got some depth on both sides of the ball.
And I mean, the defensive side, but both sides of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball, I'm actually really excited about. And then kicker and punter back. Look, I watched every Air Force game this week to go back into it. I mean, I watched the games last year too, but the kicking game was pretty good. The punting game was pretty good. Now, returning wise, why don't they put John Lee Eldridge back there? I saw they only had 11 return yards in the punt game, but kicker and punter, you got to be happy about, correct?
Yeah, I'm very happy. We also have, we have a little bit of a punting battle going on. We've got a young kid, good size, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, special teams looks great again. We don't return the ball consistently. That has been one of the things, especially with some of the new rules you were talking about them earlier. It's probably going to be less likely that we have a return game.
Killing the sport. They're killing the sport, man.
Agreed.
It's driving me crazy.
I'll say this. This is a great part about bringing on a guest who really knows this program. You don't hear about punting battles too often.
Well, that's why you subscribe to the College Football Experience. We go through these punting battles going on. All right. And Rick Baum is bringing it to you, folks. All right. Look, I want to touch base on this. I mentioned 10-3 last year. You go back and look, 15 points, the difference from an undefeated season. But at the same time, you did have like 3 close wins in a way. I mean, I know the San Diego State game was 13-3, so it was a 10-point win at the end of the day. The Army game was close. The Navy game was close. Do you worry about those close games without the Daniels and Roberts effect, all that experience back there? Because it seems like Air Force plays a ton of close games.
Yeah, when you throw the Service Academy matchups, we talk about that every year. Actually, we preview most of the games, me and you, and they're gonna be like that. I think it's just like everything else, a game at a time. Of course, it concerns me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, before we get to looking at this year's schedule, I want to tell you folks that we're brought to you by our NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final Contest. Look, we've got 2 more free contests for the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals. And trust me, when college football, there you see the Nuggets hat on. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. But look, we do contests year round. So I know this is kind of like an evergreen episode. We're recording this in early June. But you might be listening to this on August 10th or August 15th.
The Nuggets might be NBA champions by then.
They might already be champs. All right, we don't even. I'm just gonna go ahead and say they'll be champs. But no, I'm joking.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
But we do contests all the time, and we do them for free. People, we're not trying to steal your money. We're not one of these guys. I'll call 1-800-PICK Dundee. Subscribe. Send me $300 a month, and I will give you the winners. No, I'm not. Look, I think I'm pretty good at calling college football as far as like against the spread and win totals and stuff. But I'm also, I'm not going to bullshit you. If I was so good like those guys, apparently I wouldn't need a video trying to get you to subscribe.
An infomercial?
Yes, because I'd be on my yacht in Bora Bora and I would care less about you. All right. So I'm just going to look, we know it's nonsense, but we do these free things.
Look, you're the Robin Hood of the sports betting world.
That's true, and you're the Little John.
Oh, I'm
I'm
a
joking.
big beard like Little John.
Hey,
one day
he's Thunder.
That's right.
Yeah, he's Thunder. Sorry, you're Thunder. You're Thunder. All right, there you
give
go.
me a break.
Look, but we have an SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. We're not trying to take your money. All right. We do free contests right now for the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals. We're giving away $100. So get on over there, download the SGPN app, and enter today. And that's for each contest. We do the NFL contest is even bigger. College football contest even bigger. We're not trying to take your money. Just hop on over there. It's a lot of fun and it's free. And that's what we're all about. Fun and keeping it free for the most part, except for when I have to pay rent. All right. I get paid to talk to you. I don't get paid for your subscriptions because, I'm not one of these hacks. I'm not one of these hacks trying to charge you $300. All right. So check out the SGPN app and jump into those contests. Let's go, baby. All right. We are back and the schedule is here. The win total, Vegas. I guess Vegas is not concerned about these rule changes, Patty C. They say, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this sweet graphic. Shout out to Cameron Kerr, our graphic guy. 8.5 wins is the over under, which, I mean, first off, that's insulting when you're considering Troy Calhoun, in my opinion, one of the better coaches in all of college football, who's only, like I mentioned, how many times, 3 or 4 times I say 10 win seasons of the past decade, 9 wins a season ago.
Yeah. I mean, including bowls, 3 straight 10 win seasons in
non-COVID seasons. But look, I mean, the bowl game doesn't count regarding the win total. He still had 9 wins last year. that would have cashed the over on this year. 8.5 is the total. I mean, we're going to go game by game here in a second, but Rick, when you see 8.5, what are you thinking there? You just, I know you're a Falcon fan. You cover Air Force football. Are you hammering the over there or what?
Yeah, I'm planning a trip to Columbia with my winnings.
There we go. Look, that you can get a lot. Let me tell you, the transfer rate. You can buy. You might even be able to build your own Falcon Stadium down there. All right, game 1, Saturday, September 2nd. Robert Morris, the Colonials. Patty C. Some say that's offensive these days. Colonials. Who would have thought? 2023 is getting a little wild. Robert Morris, the Colonials, heading to Falcon Stadium, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Look, with all due respect to the great institution known as Robert Morris, they're an FCS team, and even at that.
0-11.
They were 0-11 a year ago. Hey, you know what? I'll be honest. I love this as the first game. If you're telling me we got to have radical changes to rules, let's put Robert Morris on the schedule and work them out.
That's right.
So no disrespect to old Bob Morris over there, but I think Air Force rolls by a solid 31. I'll lay 31 at least against Bob Morris. I'm just making that line right now.
Well, hey, I want to let you know I'm picking Robert Morris to lose badly.
Yes. Okay. There we go. Yes,
Thanks
they're going to have the Colonials. And then see, I understand. I was mad at this game at first, this next game, because I like seeing, for the most part, I understand the service academies are a little different than your traditional colleges, right? Service academies are this is America's team. You know how they say it with the Dallas Cowboys? That's a bunch of nonsense, right? This is America's team. And one of America's teams,
Commander-in-Chief trophy winners that for this year, at least our America's team.
But if you listen to us in years past, or currently, we lobby that we like college football games on campus. The only exceptions to me are the service academy battles. So when I see Sam Houston State, who's brand new to the FBS, good team, by the way. If you don't know, they won the FCS national championship a couple years ago. I was mad when I saw this wasn't at Sam Houston, because I was like, if you're going to be in Houston, Texas, just go to Sam Houston. But then I understand that for them to meet the requirements, for them to be an FBS, you have to have a certain amount of seating. So they actually had to play this game to meet their requirements. So I'm letting you off the hook, Sam Houston State. And now we have this game at NRG Stadium, Saturday, September 9th. I think Air Force is going to win this game, but this is a sneaky game because Air Force has a conference game on deck on a short week with Utah State on deck, and Sam Houston State. I don't think people realize how they're a good program. They're a very good program. Rick, I'm taking Air Force. Patty, are you taking Air Force?
Yeah, I'm taking Air Force.
Okay, but I'm curious. What's your take on this game in general?
No, you really described it. This has every indications of a possible trap game. We had this discussion last year when Northern Iowa came to Falcon Stadium. I think it's going to be a close game. I do believe that we have the depth to come back on a short week and win.
Now, with it being NRG Stadium, though, and Sam Houston State, I'm curious what the crowd will be, because Air Force is, like I said, it's like America's team. I watched the UNLV game this week again. Like I said, I watched every Air Force game, and I feel like half of UNLV's crowd, because they play at that NFL stadium. What are they doing with that? They should be playing at Sam Boyd. They're stupid.
Yeah.
Every time they play at UNLV, I'm saying, every time they play at that Raider Stadium, they don't have enough fans for that. So you lose your home environment by doing that. Now, I'm curious. There's a shot. I think this might be like 50-50. Air Force fans, Sam Houston State fans. What, Rick, are you going to this game? And what do you think the fan turnout will be?
Well, first of all, I've been to 142 of the last 144, so that's a hell yes.
Yes.
And I expect more Air Force because we're going to have a quarter of the state as recruits down there visiting.
That's true. I was going to ask that question. You guys, I know Army goes heavy into Texas. Does Air Force go heavy into Texas for? Yeah.
Oh man. That just makes me realize that I haven't played Patty C. Yeah, I'm blaming you.
I do feel like you guys get in there.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Play that one again.
Yeah, look.
You all American son of a
That's right. We are all American here, especially when dealing with the Air Force Falcons. And I got my Air Force Falcon music from Iron Eagle. Gosh, I love Air Force football. Look,
Sam Houston State, by the way, 21 game winning streak a couple of years ago, including a national championship.
Dude, they're good. They're good.
Their loss came at the hands of national champion runner-up Montana State. Last year, a little step back though, 5-4. That included a game against Texas A&M though,
and they actually played A&M decently well in the first half. A&M opened it up in the second half. They're a better team than people realize. Then the very next week we got Friday night primetime game.
Did we get Rick? We're assuming Rick.
He took Air Force.
Oh, he took.
He's got Air Force winning the national championship,
okay,
right? But
not quite.
No, we're more worried about your spread since every game's a win. How much is the question?
You got to beat Sam Houston. Obviously, I think it's going to be a 50-50 split, I think, or something crowd wise. But then the very next week, on a short week, nationally televised though, and I love Air Force getting on some nationally televised football games. Utah State comes to Falcon Stadium. Now, these games have been wild. These particular games over the past couple of years have been wild. Last year, Utah State kind of had a down year. They had a lot of injuries, but they still were one of the teams that found a way to beat Air Force in a crazy game where I feel like the swings were back and forth. I just watched it the other day. And then the year prior, it was the opposite, right? I think the year prior, the year prior, Air Force should have won that game. I remember that because I had a wager on Air Force, and Utah State battles back from down 14 late in the second half and wins 49-45 in a wild one. These games have been absolutely wild, but in a way, Utah State, especially under Blake Anderson, have kind of been the kryptonite for Air Force. What do you make of this one, man? And is this the year?
Yeah, it has to be. I really believe, with the two games you described, I think, a couple different factors. They've got a player on their squad, Utah State, by the name of Micah Davis. Micah was number 0 for Air Force and left the school. We rarely have guys leave. He'll be a part of their offense there. The short week concerns me, but I feel like it's our time.
Turned his back on America. That's tough.
And a guy, that we talked about at the beginning, Emmanuel Michel, he had 2 runs of 40 and 50, one of 40 plus, one of 50 plus against Utah State when they were in Falcon Stadium the last time.
There we go. We need that going. So this is the year. Patty C, I'm curious.
I mean, this is one of the games you have to circle on the calendar, obviously because of the revenge factor, but also because it's one of the biggest hurdles they're going to face. Fortunately, they get it at home, which you would think a border battle is going to be a little closer, in terms of the drive, but it's a 9-hour drive according to Google Maps right now. So
those Western states don't joke around.
So huge. So maybe the road trip is a big advantage. They're both in the Rocky Mountains though, so you're not going to have that advantage. I guess that's pretty much the case for most of the Mountain West.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, especially.
Yeah, altitude won't be a factor.
Yeah, I was about to say, Logan is up there in the mountains too. This is one I'm not going to give my answer yet on this one. I'm gonna hold back.
Oh, man.
But you're winning this one, right?
Yes.
And he's gonna say 12-0, dude. Look,
I actually am not.
Okay. Then the very next week, nationally televised short week. Well, not a short week because you played on Friday the week before, but still,
dude, they're in prime time 5 weeks in a row.
They should be on prime
time football. Yeah. Air Force Falcons.
That real prime time in Colorado. All right. The real prime time.
That's right. I see what you did.
They head to what do they call this stadium now? CEFCU Stadium. What is going on? All right. I call it Spartan Stadium. All right. When they head to San Jose, California to take on Ben Brittain, who I think is a very underrated coach. I think this is a sneaky game too. I actually think this is the hardest stretch of the season. Is this 3-game stretch of Utah State at San Jose State, and then the very next game, which is home to San Diego State. But how have you guys been in San Jose? Is that been? I know they were renovating their stadium. I know you guys are renovating your stadium, but San Jose State was renovating their stadium. So I know the crowd turnouts recently weren't amazing because they were doing renovations. But has it been a tough place for you guys to catch a dub, or is this
it's a coin flip. We lost COVID year. We had some big games, in I think 17 and 18 where we put up some points. This is one of those games that there's going to be those games like Wyoming last year. I could see this being a possible loss.
I feel like they bring back a lot of guys too. Chevin Cordillera, the quarterback, and so this is to me when I blindly looked at the schedule, I thought this was the second hardest game on the schedule. But then you think about Utah. Then you remind yourself of Utah State the past 2 years, and you're like, yeah, well, maybe it's not the second hardest game. Maybe Utah State's the second hardest game. Patty C, what do you think about this one?
It's tough, but I will say that it's likely that in that 2-game stretch they catch an L because it's early enough in the season. They're maybe still working out the kinks, and you play enough close games against good teams, you come out on the losing end of them sometimes. So yeah, I do think there's a lot of wins on this schedule, but I think you probably have an L if I had to guess in that 2-game stretch.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now you come back to Colorado, to Colorado Springs, beautiful Colorado Springs, to take on San Diego State, which is very interesting to me because, Air Force had San Diego State's number until last year, right?
It was the other way around.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missaid that. San Diego State had Air Force's number under Rocky Long. And I feel like with them getting a little softer, Patty C. So Air Force won their first game against San Diego State since 2009 last year in a 13-3 battle. Like I said, they had their number, but like we said,
they playing every year?
Yeah, we talk
Most
about
every year. Yeah,
almost every year. Wow.
We talk about Brady Hoke, and remember he wanted to change this philosophy from being this tough physical run team to kind of an open. Well, with that comes, you play a hard-nosed football team like Air Force, you're going to lose. So I got Air Force winning this one in Colorado Springs. Another thing is I've been to San Diego, California. The weather's phenomenal. And you tell me you got to jump back. At least if you're a San Diego State fan, actually, you're probably happy that it's September 30th. What's that? You probably don't get that cold by September 30th in Colorado Springs. Do you, Rick?
No, we've played them in September 3 or 4 times since I've been going down there. And we've had rain probably 3 out of 4.
Oh, okay. It's perfect. Air Force wins. I got this one.
This
Rick,
series, by the way, 20-18 all time in San Diego State's favor. I know you guys want to close that gap and take
20-19. All right.
After this year.
And you can take that to the bank. What are you thinking here, Rick? Win. There we go. So that's great because you go into the bye on October 7th, sitting there at 4-1 if Patty C is correct. Then you come out of it and, Craig Bohl, underrated coach. I'm a big fan of Craig Bohl.
Air Force leads 20-18. Okay. You guys already got him.
Yeah. So 21-18.
21-18.
So now you welcome Wyoming, who I think, I went back, I was watching that game this past week. Personally, I thought Air Force should have won that game. But Wyoming and Craig Bohl gets the best out of his team. Like he really is an underrated coach. But you get Wyoming coming into Colorado Springs, and that's a big advantage, I think, because going to Laramie for some reason, even though I know Air Force is at elevation, I still feel like Laramie is just a hornet's nest to go. It's a tough place to go in and grab a win. This is an all-time series, by the way, that Air Force leads 9-8, Patty C. How have they not played more? What's going on here? But Wyoming Air Force 17-14 game a year ago. Wyoming won. The last time, the last 2 times they went to Colorado Springs, they took an L. So I'm taking Air Force, but I know this is going to be a close game. This is where I worry about, no Daniels, no Roberts, one play. It could be a handoff, something. All of a sudden, Wyoming could win that game because I think this is like a 17-13, 14-10 type of game.
Slugfest.
Yeah. How do you feel about Wyoming, Rick?
Well, guys, I actually I have Wyoming winning the square dance competition directly following the game. I see our Falcons pounding them in the ground and getting some revenge for last year with the depleted roster in Laramie.
There we go.
Well,
yeah.
that's how he's keeping the fans on their toes, because we all know every game's a win, but he starts us off thinking it's a loss. They're gonna win the square dance contest.
And look, Craig Bowl gets his team rated by the portal every year. It and I love, like, I even read like a comment from him. He's like, yeah, you don't want to be here, go. Old school guy, guy. But and look, this is a guy that played for Tom Osborne at Nebraska, so he knows about the old option offense. So I think it's going to be a close game. Give me Air Force to get it done. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Well, again, I'm gonna break the rules here. I don't know if this would be considered hedging, but it's predicting. I think in that 2-game stretch, San Diego State and Wyoming, there's a loss. I think they might go. I think that's the toughest stretch of their season. Obviously, 4 kind of 50-50 games, and I think if the math holds up, you go 2-2 there.
Rick,
I respect that.
Rick, I can kick him off the show if you want. We can finish this episode.
No, I can't take his spot for another year, so let's keep him on.
Let me say this: Colorado or Air Force are coming off the bye before the game in Colorado Springs. Wyoming not coming off the bye. Got to maybe that makes that a 3-1 stretch instead of a 2-2 stretch.
That's what I'm saying, buddy. And then comes the Commander-in-Chief game where they head to Navy. Now Navy's kind of a mystery team too, because you have the same situation going on with the rule changes, but you also have Brian Newberry, who was previously the defensive coordinator for Ken Niumatalolo. I thought they did Ken Niumatalolo very dirty. I really had a problem with that. They fired him right after Navy lost at the 1-yard line to Army on a fumble. And they fired him in the locker room, a guy that I thought was a fantastic coach.
Yeah.
I thought they did him really dirty. But
unbecoming.
Yeah.
Court-martial the fucking president of the Navy football program.
He needs to be. Come on. I don't know. Take him to Guantanamo Bay.
That's right.
All right. But look, this game, I'm the biggest Air Force fan in this game because of what they did to my guy, Ken Niumatalolo. But to be an honest podcast, Patty C, which we try to be, Brian Newberry is the new head coach, and he brought in Grant Chestnut to be the offensive coordinator. He comes in from Kennesaw State, who also has been running the option in the FCS, and they're about to jump to the FBS next year. I'm intrigued to see this is a different chapter in the rivalry now, because you're going to see a completely different. I mean, it's going to be different, but it's going to be the same, if that makes sense.
What brand of option did he run at Kennesaw? Was it the Jamie Chadwell style of option?
I think it had wrinkles.
Pistol here.
Yeah.
Not everything under center completely.
Okay. Well, then we have after that so that Navy game. Obviously, it's always a field goal game. What'd you make of this one, Rick?
Close game. You called both of the games last year as far as the under and even the spread. I'm going to stick with that theme. Close game, Air Force win.
Okay, Patty C?
100%.
Yeah, this is one 17-14
long trip to
again.
Annapolis and a noon kick Eastern time might be an early start for Air Force. That's proven to be a problem for some teams from the West, but I think they'll handle it.
Okay, then after that, we go to the in-state battle against the Colorado State Rams, who are a mystery team. What do we even make of Colorado State with Jay Norvell? This is a critical year for it. Well, I shouldn't say critical. It's year 2. I feel like 3 would be critical. They're running the air raid. They got Matt Mumme, Hal Mumme's son, as the OC. Contrast in styles here. I always like the option team in these battles. We've seen it. How many times we see Texas schools running the air raid? Just get destroyed by Army or something. What are you doing here, Rick?
Well, this game means a lot to me personally. We mentioned John Lee Eldridge. He's one of my close friends. His first touch in D1 was against CSU a couple years ago, and it was a touchdown. I think he has a huge game. I think CSU is probably a year away from being overly competitive. So I've got Air Force. Surprise.
Patty C.
I'm worried about this game because Colorado State came in, a ton of transfers. We thought, hey, maybe they're bringing these guys in, it'll be a smooth transition. That's never the case when you're completely putting in a new system. They got routed against even an FCS game. They lost by 31 at the beginning of last year, but by the end of last year, they end with the win. They only lost to Air Force on the road by 12 toward the end of last year. So a full off season to prepare, and you get them at home. I think you got to be careful about this game. I'm still giving it to Air Force, but I think it's going to be a good one.
I'm giving it to Air Force too. And then you got the game that you were alluding to at the beginning of the episode, Mile High Stadium, or whatever they call it now. They're taking on the Army Black Knights. This is obviously a huge, huge game. And Jeff Monken does a great job at Army. Patty C, what do you make of this matchup? This should be on Thanksgiving or Veterans Day, by the way. Yeah. I've lobbied this for forever that play this on Veterans Day every year or play this on Thanksgiving.
It's amazing. Obviously, you have two of the best uniforms and two of the best, representations of our military possible. Air Force with the lightning bolts, Army with the Black Knights. It's a beautiful football game in Mile High Stadium, in Power, whatever you want to call it. It's Mile High on our heart still. I think you got to be careful, but I feel like with Army, tinkering around with the shotgun, I can't put my faith in that. So we're going Air Force,
especially altitude advantage. That's my handicap here.
Rick, I feel like those dudes in the Army are probably in good shape too.
Oh, I'm sure they're in good shape, but still,
yeah. No, it hurts. It hurts going up there. You're like bleeding from your lungs as you work out.
Rick, what are you doing here in Empower Field?
I'm sticking with the military academy game theme that we have established on this program, and we're going to go close and win.
Beautiful. And then you head to Hawaii. Timmy Chang, former June Jones quarterback, new head coach there. I was impressed with his development as the season went along. I still think they're far away from being where they were a while ago under Jones or Rolovich. So I got Air Force kind of beating the hell out of him on the island. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Oh, the Ching Complex as a difficult place.
Bring your membership.
That's right. 50 Olympic-sized swimming pool. No, they're going to slap Hawaii around.
Yeah, I think as much as I love Hawaii in that program, Rick, you?
I have concerns about the stadium, not really the opponent. They're going through some stuff there. I'm going to actually take a whole week to do a little bit of pre-gaming there. So I'm very excited about that matchup.
Poor you.
Got the win.
You know what? You're doing your part to keep them afloat. I'm surprised though that you guys aren't taking advantage of the 13th home game that I believe or the 13th game that you're awarded for going to Hawaii. I don't know.
If that's a conference thing though.
Maybe that's a non-conference.
I think it's when it's in the non-con. But
gotcha.
Then you got the UNLV running Rebels, brand new head coach Barry Odom. He's coming into Colorado Springs. I kind of don't know what to expect from them. But they had Bobby Petrino as their offensive coordinator for like a week. But I got this as a dub. I don't think UNLV's there yet. Patty?
Well, if some of that Petrino mojo rubbed off on him, maybe that offense goes a little bit, but I doubt that's the case. I think they roll them in that. Well, and they get them at home. Oh yeah, that's easy money.
Yeah,
easy money.
Rick.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That one we don't have to talk too much about. But then you have the game. To me, the hardest game on the schedule. Boise went with the youth movement a year ago. Started Taylor Green and Gene T. Their running back, both freshmen that were really good and. They overhauled the air raid. They went back to their old philosophies. Andy Avalos did that in the right time because the seat was getting hot. But this is a game where Troy Calhoun has had success against Boise before. But Boise has had their number lately. Boise's won I feel like 5 of 6. There was a stretch where Calhoun had won 3 straight. It's on the Smurf turf. I got to take Boise, man. Patty?
Yeah. Gotta lean Boise here.
Rick, this is where we find out who you really are here.
Give us the breakdown. This is the one we're all interested in.
What are you doing here?
So here's what I got. I've got a split. And what I mean is I really believe that there's a good chance we will lose that last game at Boise State. I believe that we'll be the second best team in this new conference format, and we will return a week later and we will beat them.
Remember, no divisions in the Mountain West this year, so yeah, it no longer matters. You know, before you would get sometimes the sympathy play. We see it in the ACC all the time with the Coastal, where the team that's not really the second best team in the league would end up in the championship game. Not anymore. Mountain West doesn't have a division, so the top 2 teams are playing. Perhaps it's like that, and I like Rick's optimism here. They lose one game in Smurf turf. The next week on the Smurf turf, they're getting that dub.
It might not even be on the Smurf turf because Boise has to go to San Diego State in conference, to Fresno in conference, to Utah State in conference. So if they take 2,
then it's in Colorado Springs.
Then it's still and then you go back home and you get that
like
dub.
it, folks.
All right, hey, I'm hugging you through the video. Do you feel me?
Oh yeah, let's go. And I'm on the over. Patty C?
I'm on the over.
Rick's on the over. All right.
Before we
hold on a second. What?
The
last 3 years you've got me on the under, and now you're switching. I'm worried. I'm really worried.
I did take the under. On Air Force. It was like they said it at like 9 last year. I was like, I don't know. I mean, if they play too many close games, I want the under. But no, now I'm buying into Calhoun.
Are we jinxing them? Are they going to lay a clunker here?
That is a little tricky. Give me the over though.
I want to ask a couple questions here. Are they? Should I know the Mountain West is going through some stuff right now? Are we looking at potentially, say, Washington, Oregon leave? Who knows what happens with Stanford and Cal at that point? But the Mountain West stands to maybe gain some Pac-12, maybe even a merger there. How do you guys think you'd match up with the likes of an Oregon State or a Washington State? And would you welcome them into the conference?
Oh, we would welcome them. We would, whatever the case may be, them or us, either destination. It would be difficult in the beginning, but this team adapts. These are the people that are going to be protecting the country. So, yeah, I think it would be great. I would love to see that.
That would be fun.
That would be pretty cool. It would be actually, but I mean, Wazoo was so cool to me too. I also don't want to see them go down because I know.
Well, maybe they, as a collective, a merger, elevate that conference into a elite status.
True.
Yeah, the Pacific Mountain West. Great.
Pacific Mountain West. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Rick, we appreciate you joining us on the show, man. So, anything you want to plug, folks? Go follow his Twitter page. There's so many of them. I mentioned a couple of them right there at History Falcon. You can follow Rick personally on Twitter at Falcon8Fan, and another account at SSN _ Air Force. There's a lot of them. Rick, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I appreciate you guys. And, as far as the pages go, myself and Alex Insko run the history page. We have a lot of guests. We had Brad Roberts on last year, the nation's leading rusher. And we're going to have many more this year. The Air Force Falcon fans site is doing well. All of them, are pro Air Force, of course, and a lot of good information. This upcoming season, I'm most excited about. I think offensively, you can sum it up in 3 words: John Lee Eldridge. And on defense, we're going to be solid around, led by Trey Taylor, Camby Goff. We talked about it before, and it's going to be a fun year. And I'll be watching all of our conference previews done by you guys, and then I'll kind of put some stuff together to give to my guys to let them know what to look for game to game.
We appreciate that, brother, and you're welcome here anytime. So have a wonderful day, man, and look, please come back next year.
Go Nuggets, go Falcons.
There we go. Go Falcons. Rick Baum, everybody. Give him a follow on Twitter. And take care, Rick. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Anytime, Thanks, brother. Anytime. All right. Rick Baum, always doing great work with Air Force football. And Patty C, here we are talking Air Force football. And, are you buying all in? I mean, look, you're being nice to him, or is this real?
No, I mean, I think you look at that schedule and you say, well, they might go 11-1.
No Power Fives on the schedule. I'm a little concerned about the rule changes. That's the only thing I'm very weary about.
Let me ask you this: coming off 3 straight 10-win, including the bowl seasons, and they start off this season. Let's say they just catch fire and go 11-0, right? Because the only real game that should be really challenging is the Boise game. There are challenging games, but not games that maybe they might be favored in all 11 of those, especially because they get their hardest ones at home up until that point. If they're 11-0, where are they ranked?
They hate on the service
19.
That's what I'm saying. Like they'll be like 24th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, I'm gonna be rooting for him. And look, we got our guy. This episode's not done, folks. This is a new thing. Falcon Stadium, Patty C. This is a stadium that's been there for a long time. I'm going to bring on College Football Campus Tour, aka Michael Barker, to talk about that. I separately recorded this, so here we go. We're going to play this right now, and then I want your take on the stadium. All right, here we are on the College Football Experience, and I am lucky enough to be joined by College Football Campus Tour, which you should be following on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. His name is Michael Barker. He's a hero of mine, and look, he's been to every college football stadium in the land. So Air Force. The Falcon Stadium, they call it, correct? Talk to me about your Air Force experience, Michael, and thanks for doing the show.
Yeah, no problem, and I appreciate the kind words. I've been to one game at Falcon Stadium. It was back in 2017. Absolute torrential downpour. Played right into the hands of Falcon football, and they ran the ball down the throat of San Diego State, won. And it was so bad, everybody hid under the bleachers trying to avoid the rain, but they did, except for the students and the cadets. They stayed out in the field. But other than that, everybody hid but stayed long enough to watch the Falcons get a victory.
And look, first off, I feel like if you're going to go see Colorado football in general, the state of Colorado, you got to have some elements. I've been to Boulder. I've never been to Colorado Springs. I've been to Colorado Springs, just not Falcon Stadium. How was that? Was it a beautiful sight? You have mountains in the backdrop. Talk to me about that stadium.
So what's really cool about Air Force, Falcon Stadium is it's a very isolated location. It's at the base of the Rampart Range of the Rockies. The elevation is 6,621 feet. It's different than your typical stadium. You have to go through a government checkpoint, show your ID, be able to get there. And even when you drive through the huge campus of Air Force, you end up in a parking lot that is away from everything else. And the elevation and the isolation, it's intimidating for fans. So you may have an idea of what Colorado Springs, the city, is like in general, but you are out in an absolute island when you get to Falcon Stadium.
Absolutely awesome. You caught a game in the rain. Over under on how many cups of hot chocolate you had? I'm setting it at 2.5. Over or under, Michael?
One per quarter. So take the over, which is 4. And it was very much appreciated around there. If you can deliver to your friends, it was needed. And that game was, like I said, it was a deciding one in the Mountain West standings.
Oh man, I got to get out there. I have friends. Shout out to my guy, Rick Baum, he's invited me. I haven't gone yet. I got to take him up on it. So Falcon Stadium been around since what? The 1960s, correct?
Yeah. 1962, 46,000 capacity. And what's interesting is right now they're going through a $90 million modernization project where right now they tore down part of the roadside bleachers, and it's going to be a construction zone for the entire 2023 season. So I haven't been since 2017. I really want to go back. They're playing a couple Friday games, which I love. You and me, we might want to wait till 2024 if we want to see the whole project done. But if we don't mind construction, you want to see Falcon football, then you should try to get out there this fall.
There we go. Support our troops. Get out to a game. And yeah, I'll probably wait the 24. I know Oregon State did that last year as well. But folks, if you're in the Colorado area, you got to get out and support Air Force Falcon football. Appreciate you joining us, Michael. Everyone should give him a follow on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. I highly recommend this. This is how I became friends with this man. Is he was posting, he goes to like 6 games, I feel like a week. And each night he's posting an awesome photo from sometimes an awesome photo, sometimes just a crazy seat in the stadium. I highly recommend it. And Michael, please feel free to tell the audience, exactly what you do.
Yeah, you summed it up pretty well, but I've been traveling to games since 2017. Been to a game at all 133 FBS stadiums. 61 of 128 FCS. The goal is to do all 261 D1 schools in a 10-year period. Fortunate to be able to start mixing in some repeats. And the goal is every weekday game, go to one. And if possible, a noon game on Saturday and a 7 p.m. game on Saturday. So best time of the year is MACtion in November. They'll play 5 games Tuesday through Saturday. They do it 3 weeks in a row. If you hit 2 games per Saturday, that's 6 per week. 6 times 3 is 18 games in 19 calendar days. You can't do anything better than that. So I enjoy it. I like to share photos, obstructed view seats that you want to avoid at a stadium. And, I want to meet with fans, have a beer, have you show me your stadium, and showcase it on Twitter.
There we go. I am definitely voting for Michael Barker to be next president of the United States. Appreciate you, and take care, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Colby.
Oh, well, there we go. Air Force Falcon Stadium, Patty C. How about you want to get there? Huh?
I want to get there. I'm looking at this modernization thing they're doing right now. Right now on the upper deck of, like, I guess where the press box is, it's a 3-level stadium there, and they got Air Force written on the top. Looks pretty cool, but man, have you seen the picture of what they're planning to do with the bleachers? I got to show you that.
Oh man, that's perfect.
They got the 2 lightning bolts striking down onto the stadium.
That's absolutely perfect. We got to get out there for a game. Shout out to Rick. But Patty C, how well do you feel about the over here? Do you feel like this is lock potential?
It's French. It's French. It's so tough because Haaziq Daniels, a 3-year starter. I think people maybe sleep, like you said, on the importance of the quarterback. And you see Navy going from like a 10 or 12 or 11 win team down to like a 3 or 4 win team the next year when their quarterback goes away. It was like Keenan Reynolds.
Yeah, Keenan Reynolds.
And so that's a dude that's an elite quarterback running that system. And then you don't have that, and you don't have those little edges that make the whole thing work. And so we're going to see what they do. I would stay away from it just because the quarterback play, but the schedule itself, I think I'm leaning over.
Yeah, I'm leaning over too. And look, we do our lock episode of the win totals in August. Perhaps the Air Force Falcons will be there. Once again, thanks again to Rick Baum for hopping on the show, and obviously Michael Barker as well. Give him a follow at College Campus Tour. Folks, I'm on the over. He's on the over. Rick Baum's on the over. He's been on the overs ever since they're back since they had Parcells. All right. So load up, folks. All right. This is the first of 133 college football team previews. We do a solo podcast for each and every team in the land. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're on Twitter at TCE on SGPN, but also we're on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Subscribe, tell a friend, and folks, this is just the beginning. I cannot wait for Air Force football. Patty C, give him a follow on Twitter at Patty C831. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. Don't forget NC Nick. Not on this episode, but he's part of the College Football Experience. He's on Twitter at NC__NICK. Give them all a follow. All right. Give them all a follow and get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And until, well, the next we're in the zone here, 133 teams. So until the next time we're live, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.